A great way to introduce a horror is to keep things a mystery, showing us enough to think that this Witcher is Geralt for a brief moment and hiding the injuries of the boy on the bed. Witchers are heartless mercenaries, demanding payment in front of his dying son. It's a nice touch. This shot shows a phenomenal use of contrast for us being lowered into a barren hell. Slow-paced steps to a slaughterhouse with blinding fog. The mood is set. Black eyes, just like Geralt. Nice detail. Creepy shrieking sends chills up your spine. A Witcher can be killed. They are mortal. It humanizes them. Geralt is a man with simple desires. This moment with the horror shows his distance with people and reluctancy of his past. In an RPG, or role-playing game, you receive quests, tips, and hints from the local townfolk. Lovely touch being it from the whore you just slept with. No one talks better to his horse like Geralt. This whole show is about fear. Nice touch adding a simple moment with Geralt and the whorehouse owner. After rewatching this episode, this is quite a good way to set things up. Geralt is a great negotiator. Captain of the Guard wishes no blood to be shed. Watching this again, I think he puts his hand on the father's shoulder not out of sadness or sincerity, but out of regret for creating the beast that killed his son. It's a great character trait to withhold your power and let people vent, even towards you. Turn of events from the king's own sorcerer, no less. Sullying the name of a Witcher. Geralt has pride. Geralt's precise knowledge of a creature from a few details. A consistent issue that I've had with the show is that it felt too quick. They've rushed into scenes and plot way too quickly. She's finally comfortable in her own skin. She looks whimsical and is flirty as a young girl should be. I just wish more could have been shown about this evolution with her. Also, she does have genuine smiles. There's a lot of exposition being given here that I missed the first time through. Again, something that could have fixed it is if they flushed out the plot and took their time playing out the characters. Temple design is always a delight. First watch through, the fire circle is awesome. Second watch through, there's literally no reason for it, but I still love it. The architect here speaks very poetically. I love this character. I love everything about this character. Stating the truth about her physical form, but whimsical with a gleam of hope. Planting the seeds of her metaphorical rebirth with the words,
"We remake ourselves on our terms."
A self-image exercise. Getting under the king's skin means Geralt doesn't matter about royalty. It's nice. Locking himself in the room with the king. Dude has balls. A quick conversation with the king shows that he's human and holds on to the sins of his past, which harms the townfolk, bringing all the pieces together. Politics has always shown us the true nature of a person. This man's pause is hilarious.
What are you talking about?
Now, this episode, she's full of herself, speaking out towards Tissaia. It feels unearned to get to this point so quickly, even though I love this scene. Horrible editing. I get camera shots may need actors and actresses to reset a scene, so I forgive that. But here, she's behind the table. A moment later, in front of the table. Geralt is so overqualified for the job, he can scare two guards to run away humorously. The bedroom scene here was so eerie. The notes lead to the captain's true nature. Geralt's primal way of dealing with things is enchanting. Arguing with your boyfriend about betrayal and your literal blood is what is punishing you? That's heartbreaking.
No amount of power or beauty will ever make you feel worthy of either.
That hit deep. The willingness to face a stronger enemy to get the job done. The king is shown to have a heart and has been filled with sadness. Geralt talks to him like a human, something he's needed for quite some time. For the both of them. Giving Renfri's pendant to the king as a symbolic notion of trying to save the daughter. The tied-up captain, dirtied in his own blood, explains the defiled magic he casts on the princess, the curse. This is the first time we get to see him take a potion which turns his eyes black, a menacing and terrifying view. The life of a Witcher. I personally thought there was way too much nudity in these shows, but I have to admit they do add to the scene. Yennefer wanted to keep her eyes and scars as a reminder of her past. Leaving the captain to die is a just reward for the many citizen deaths that there were from the beast that the captain created.
Not a man,
That deserves a win. In horror, the uncertainty of what something is what's most terrifying. I'm grateful they kept the creature cloaked in mystery for as long as they did. I'm not a fan of introducing the creature at this point. The way he was murdered was horrible and amazing. They should keep that. I think if they waited just a minute or two for her to be shown in the hallway, it would be a great transition from knowing nothing, getting a glimpse of here and there, then seeing the monster in full in such a short amount of time. The umbilical cord being dragged through the hallway is a nice touch, since she was created as a creature from inside her mother's womb. The contrast of Geralt in cool colors with Yennefer in warm colors is phenomenal. Pain being expanded by the fire in the background. Nice touch. I love Geralt's force push. It's not really fatal, it's not a lot of magic, but just enough of both to keep him as an interesting warrior compared to most. Also, the level of power is increased, since he's using a potion, compared to the last time when he was fighting the thugs in the town. Great detail. Grabbing a blunt weapon on the wall, because his goal isn't to kill her, it's to save her. Another nice detail. I'm not really a fan of throwing Geralt around because everyone else had a swift and brutal death when confronted with her. They took a bit too long to show the sword being too far. It's kind of silly. A force push on the floor takes 2 hits rather than 1. A great detail. A sacrifice of her greatest gift, to be a mother. Seldom do we see shows with women actually be women, rather than this woke material we've gotten over the last few years, where men and women are interchangeable. This woman giving up her chance at children conveys a horror being done by her choice, showing a wonderful level of connection between being a woman and having her children. This scene deserves 10 wins. The fall caused Geralt's potions to be destroyed. Geralt has more than just force push. What other powers does he have? Her tear running down her face amplifies this scene. I don't get how a powerful creature is able to lose at a tug of war, since the inside of a mausoleum is all flat, as the top of things you can hold onto and pull. It could have been saved by the creature only getting to the tomb after he sealed it, showing his gate magic locking the tomb, something already introduced to us this episode with the effects already tested. As one monster is undone, the other is reborn. Geralt removing his armor where the princess will bite is because he thinks the fight is over, and the armor was mangled mess. Henry Cavill knows how to die in a death scene properly. Also, a good aesthetic for a young girl who has been a creature her whole life. Great acting on her part. I've always thought of this scene as not a beautiful woman emerging, but another monster revealing itself because of the price she paid for this form. I mentioned last episode that Fringilla's hand shriveling up was what led her down the path of the dark arts. I was wrong. This is where she goes down that path. Fringilla had a good thing going with the king. Then she had to pick another kingdom to serve because of Yennefer's choice and moving in onto her turf. We even see Fringilla have cut hair, the removal of her femininity, to claim power, just like Yennefer did here. The butterfly effect is in full view. Geralt is a humanitarian because his first thought waking up was the status of the princess. This show has been about fear, and Geralt is afraid to mention Renfri to another. Great detail. Receiving the pennant back from the king. Mentioning to Geralt that there's something more out there for him, then cutting to Ciri sleeping into the woods, that's the most subtle foreshadowing I've seen in a while, and I love it. Ciri waking up by a strange sound and compelled to walk forward. You don't catch this the first time watching this episode, but the arrows being shot at Dara are from the Dryads. Why? Because he's a man. Sexism and discrimination. Huh. I'm giving this a win because of that revelation. It's just hilarious. Get back, you! You have a penis! It's hilarious. A bone graveyard sets the mood. At first, I had no idea why he was running into the woods for Ciri, risking death. But she is his only companion. I feel for you, man. Ciri walking off after her friend gets hit. A large shot of the forest that she walks into gives us a mystery about the forest itself. This episode was definitely more solid compared to the last episode. I still loved Yennefer's origin story much better. Throughout this show, we've seen a beautiful connection between the outward and inward appearance of ugly and beauty. The king first looked ugly because of being a sloppy eater, then to be a victim of his past from the actions of others towards his family. which shows his humanity, his beauty. The captain of the guard being beautiful from his manners and politeness, then being ugly when we see his true intentions and prior actions. The monster was ugly through and through. Then we realize the princess was born as a monster from the guard's curse. We feel for her. We sympathize with her. Yennefer turned into a beauty for all to behold, but her method and sacrifice was evil and ugly. I'm phenomenally pleased with this show actually holding a standard of the feminine. A reward can be objectively better, but the price to pay can be objectively worse. Thank you for sticking around this long. If you liked what you saw, please hit that subscribe button for more content. See you next time.
I'm sure someone as legendary as you has already figured out several ways to get past Egerland's guards.